We have time. I was pretty much in the dark. I didn't know all that much. What about now? Is there anything you can help me with? I know they get Pantangeli, that's all I know. I didn't know it was a hit. I swear to you, I didn't know. Johnny Ola contacted me in Beverly Hills. Said he wanted to talk. He said you and Roth were in some big deal, and there was a place for me in it, if I could help them out. They said you were being tough on the negotiations, and if they had a little bit of help, they could close it fast, and it would be good for you. And you believe that story? He said there was something good in it for me. Me, on my own. I've always taken care of you. Taking care of me? Mike, you're my kid brother, and you take care of me? Did you ever think of that? Ever once? Send Fredo off to do this. Send Fredo off to take care of that. Take care of some little, unimportant nightclub here and there. Pick somebody up at the airport. Mike, I'm your older brother. I was stepped over. That's the way Pop wanted it. Well, it wasn't the way I wanted it. I can handle things. I'm not dumb. Christ, not like everyone says. I'm smart. And I want respect. There's nothing more you can tell me about this investigation. The lawyer, Custard, he belongs to Roth. You're nothing to me now, Fredo. You're not a brother, and you're not a friend. I don't want to know you or what happens to you. I don't want to see you at the hotels or here near my home. When you visit your mother, I want to know a day in advance so I won't be there. Do you understand? Mikey! Well, sort of get ready. I don't know. Sort of. Who knows? Okay, I don't know what's going to happen. But I'm calling this the Super Show. Even though really it's just, I'm just going to add it. I'm going to take all the clips and put them together. But I'm going to say, it's a Super Show. Hello, folks, get ready. Are you ready? Yeah, like that. Get excited. Hey, get excited. Yeah. Coming to the state. Yeah. Get yourself excited. You got to be excited for this show. A little, it's early. It's early. It's 8:39 a.m. right now. I wanted to go ahead and introduce what the show is going to be at the beginning. It's essentially a radio show. They call it a podcast. It would be a radio show, but the difference would be, in order to have a radio show, you have to pay the fiddler, the capital elite. You have to give them their due. You have to pay the tribute to the man upstairs. I mean literally upstairs, though. Like in the room above you. Showing up every now and then. What are you guys doing? I told you to... I said that... They're always like, wondering what you're doing and why you did it. Now, we had instructed you very clearly. You were trained appropriately for this. Yeah, I don't have those. But that's kind of, you need something. It would be nice if you had that without the trouble of it. Okay. I think Kurt Cobain, if it was his line, made it appropriate when he said, "Forever in debt to your priceless advice." He just said those words. I don't know where. He should have put them in a song. Yeah. Do 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 do. All right, so it's a show. What am I gonna do? I'm just gonna take a lot of stuff that I was gonna try to edit. I was gonna get the editor to come, but I don't know if you know this. I don't have other people that work on the show, not because I don't want them, or because I want to do it all on my own. You know, people that want to do everything on their own. That's not me. So if you got me pegged there, you're wrong. I would just love to be a part of a big team of a bunch of different people of different backgrounds. I don't want to sound sarcastic there, but on that, okay. What I mean is, I would be fine collaborating with others. Maybe I just didn't take the effort enough to go do it. So now I'm stuck and I have to do all the work. That's okay though, because that means I just have to limit what I do, which means that I don't have to edit anymore. That's ridiculous. Who would edit it? I have to put myself on the ball when I'm up here. Hey, if you're doing this, don't be editing. It's okay though if you do. I don't care. You could hire an editor and that would put someone to work. See, I would have an editor easily. I would call him Ed, the editor. Ed, get in here. I need you to edit this piece. Could you edit this material? And Ed would be like, well, yeah, that's what I do. That's my job. That's how I profess to this profession. No, I messed that up. I profess to this genre, or I profess to this occupation. That's it. Okay. I have professed to this occupation, and I'm a professional specialist. Of course will edit that piece or that material. And I'll go, well, I just asked you I was just asking just to make sure. Because you never know. All right. Now I am going to have to edit. That's terrible. Also, don't refer to editing always. That's getting old. No more meta. Stop doing meta. I only do it. I have to do it to keep the joke stealers away. That's the only thing I can do. That's the other thing about the men upstairs. They keep the joke stealers away. I mean, they take 30% of your money or whatever off the top of it. It's like a pre-fade on the mixer board there. When they're mixing your money, they turn the volume up real high and all the bass. They turn up the bass on that on channel 1, which is the one that goes directly to their feed. Ha, that's a sound joke. And it's also a capitalist joke. But they do have to fight for people. You know, they do have to send people to people's doorsteps, I guess. So you got to respect them. You got to respect people who make a phone call to some person who is not legitimate, by the way, does not go on the books, and hits people for a living, which is a fine proposition, a fine living. I respect those people with a great deal of respect. So, I think, in fact, I like them a lot better than all other people. In fact is, you got a group of those guys, and they got a bunch of regular people that don't punch people for a living, and worse. They might do worse. I don't know. I'm pretty sure, though, if you punch somebody, you can't really claim that you're not. Yeah, you go punch strangers at the behest of some. Well, hopefully. Okay, well, you know what? It's true that the people who get punched usually deserve it. Maybe. Yeah, maybe. You might see some of their behavior and you could say, well. If it wasn't me, it would be them. Okay. Well, also, it is true that some of these people did do bad things. And they were probably sending people with the punches to the doors anyway. So I could understand. Oh, but what they did to Paul Castellano was completely egregious if you think about it. I still have misgivings about that, even to this day. Yeah, no one was ever arrested for it. 4 guys got away with killing this old man sitting there, getting ready to go eat some steak. They come out with their white hats. I saw the whole thing. I was a kid. But I was never allowed to talk about it. They said, don't talk about it. I said, yeah, I don't think I'm going to forget about it. I don't think I'll ever forget. Oh, yeah, I don't think I'll ever forget about it, will I? Oh, yeah, the time 4 men came and shot Paul Castellano right in broad daylight. Yeah, I don't think I'll forget it. Well, you forget. I guess, what's weird is I never hear about it. You always hear like 9/11, don't forget. Yeah, what about the time those 4 guys just went and shot some old rich man there? Yeah, what about that time? What about that? It was a coup, apparently. What was that? Hey, what was that? Oh, don't go asking questions about that, by the way. I'm going to ask you a few questions. Now, Mr. Gotti, where were you on the day of I remember it. It was December 16th, 1985. My 10th birthday. They said, I remember it because it was a Monday. And my family said, we're going to have steak for lunch today. It was the Christmas holidays coming up. So they said, we're going down to Sparks today. Okay, so we got there early. About 3 o'clock, we ate. Stayed there for a little while. So we're leaving. About, I remember if it was about 5:50. It was after 5, but it was before 5:30. Yeah. And so we're walking outside. So we see. We're told, don't ever say anything about this ever. You can never talk about this. Got 2 guys get shot right in the car there. Just shot them dead. And pools of blood. The blood just eats up the sidewalk and then a puddle. Just makes a puddle where you can see where the lowness is now. In that spot in the street, in the sidewalk. They were shot repeatedly in the head and body. At close range. 4 gunmen. Well, 1 gunman hung back. 3 of them were the one that went to the car. And they were just shooting pistols. Just pa, 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 like that. That's how I remember it. Oh my God. Shot that guy. I was like, who is it? I didn't know anything about it. I didn't understand what it was. I never understood until later. And they said, don't ever talk about that. They said, they'll be at our doorstep. They said that was some old man. Big old man. Big tall old man guy. Said he was important. Paul Castellano, then they said, now we know he's the boss. He's the boss of, guess what? I don't know what to call it. I'm not going to call it any names, because that's not true. Don't call them by names. But it's an organization. Apparently, it's some sort of an organization. Like, is it an insurgency? A militia? What is it? I mean, just properly termed. I'm not going to use any of the terms. Dang it, I hate it when they use the terms. They're just lying. They're just lying about that. That's what makes me so mad. That's why, I'll tell you later. I'll tell you later about that. But man, that makes me mad. I don't like it when they do that. Because they're lying. When you call it by that name, you're just lying about what it is. Come on, use the right terminology. So, this group, they had a boss. He was one of the bosses of the biggest families, and he was the boss of all the bosses. So you had to go to him, and they used to say about him that he wasn't a street guy. Oh, he's not a street guy, that's why we don't like him. Well, yeah, but he's up in the business rooms making deals. What? So they say that John Gotti felt like he was being pushed out or something, but well, maybe that's true, so I don't really know. But I do know that they had no consideration for the people. That group, that militia, they had not one bit of concern about what they did that day in front of a lot of people. It was as if it was like some sort of a terrorism act, an act of terrorism. Oh, but it went unnoticed. The people that did it were just allowed to go free. Yep, that's why you shouldn't call it by other names. Make sure you know that it's not called by those names. It's a group, an organization that in broad daylight shot 2 men and put blood all over the street in front of children, and not one person could say a word about it. They had to all go home and be quiet about it. Because if they said something, somebody would come to their house or whatever they have over there. Well, so wherever you live. I don't know where you live there. But we went home. We went home that day. And I remember they said, you don't have to go to school anymore. And I didn't. I never went to school again. And then we left town the next day. And then we hid away for a long time. Because we were close personal friends of Paul Castellano, we were there to meet him that day. And so we're still out there. Just letting you know. And it's war. Oh, yeah, it's war. It's on. We have come back to clean house. We are going to avenge this event of terrorism. As our first act, we are going to take down all 4 men who were involved that day. And we will be taking care of that action very soon to eliminate those 4 as a message, just to send a message. No, I'm joking. No, I'm not really going to do that. I wasn't there either, but. So, that was fun. Well, I think that's all my time. I have to stop there. Oh. No, I have other things. Let's see. I wonder if it had anything to do with the Mystic Woods condominium project. That was only $52 million for that. Does anybody here like coffee? You ever drinking coffee? And you just go, I'm going to have more coffee after this. I like to drink coffee. Drink coffee. Drink coffee. This message is brought to you by Drink Coffee. This message is brought to you by Drink Coffee. Okay, it's time to start the show. Please put away your telephones and shut your fucking mouth. Welcome to the program. 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 You're listening to the Cruel and Unusual Sit-Down Podcast. Pew, pew. As a writer, you learn certain things as a writer. I'm not, because I don't know how to pronounce the word. I told everyone I wanted to be a writer. And they were like, yeah, that'll work. That sounds about right. I suggest you go to the horse riding academy. That's where I'd go. It's out there in Lubbock or something. It's out there in Lubbock. They always would say, it's out there in Lubbock. Something would be there. I know, that's Lockhart. You mean Lockhart. Oh, yeah, Lubbock or Lockhart? Lubbock or Lockhart? Dang, I can't remember. Was it Lubbock or Lockhart? Hey, Carol, was it Lubbock or Lockhart? I don't remember. I think it was Shreveport. Oh, that's right. So, I had a lot of trouble with that. But that's why I like, so as a writer, you learn. For instance, you don't get to write just anything. You don't get to, you can't just make up whatever. It's like a whole bunch of rules. One of them is, so if you have a killer or like somebody in this story that's a killer, anyone who murders in your story, because that happens. A lot of times you want to have that, but you got to make sure, if you notice, you'll see this too, usually make them a bad guy. Maybe there's some questions about whether they're a bad guy or not. Well, that's film noir. We can't, I guess film noir is like, I don't know if I said that right. Okay, I don't know what it's called. All right, I don't know what it's called. I don't know. It's Noir. It's a weird word. I feel embarrassed every time I get near that word. I don't like that. The word doesn't make sense. The word doesn't make sense. All right, I'm going to cut that out. That's ridiculous. So if you have a killer, the story, they have to be bad. Something has to happen to them. Except that's why I always like the Bible. And that's because in the Bible, the main character of the Bible, Yahweh, no matter what he does, he can do no wrong. He could kill whole villages and with men, women, and children. He just says, "Hey, Israelites, go to that village, kill every man, woman, and child, and take all the children for yourselves. Do whatever you want." That's what Yahweh told them. They said, "Why?" "Oh, just because Yahweh don't like them." And then, so it's okay. That's justified. That's the only story where you can get away with that. That's like the opposite of Deus Ex Machina, or whatever. I don't even know how to pronounce it. Dux Ex Machina. I know it's Deus Ex Machina. That's when the gods come down and fix everything at the end. Well, it's the opposite in the Bible. In the Bible, God is the one doing all the bad actions. But that's okay, though. He's the only one it's okay. In the fight of good against evil, he's always right. It's the best story. That's got to be the best story, because you can't get away with that usually. It's even in Colombo, they have to have. So in Colombo, the person who's going to kill somebody in Colombo always has to have had no other choice, even though what they're doing is wrong. And at the end, we can condemn them and say, "Yep, wag our fingers." Yahweh invented the get out of jail free card, only for himself. Well, but he created a lot. I think people overlook him. I think he's mad. He's mad because people overlook him. He doesn't understand. Well, he may not be able to understand that it's hard for us to get close to him because he's always doing so much genocide. Plus, he even says if you even get near him, he's just going to kill you. You'll just die. So maybe that's part of it. I can understand it. You got to appreciate it. But he doesn't have to go be jealous. To be jealous. Why is he jealous of us? Why would he be jealous of us? Hey, God, you're way above us, man. We're nothing. We're a speck. We live here for like 5 minutes. If you put all of human history across a yardstick, human history, no, if you put all of cosmic history on a yardstick, okay, do that first, and then I'll tell you the rest later. All right. So they say if you go in your closet, and so go in there and take everything that you haven't worn in the last 6 months, put it on the right-hand side, and then everything that you normally wear, put it on the left-hand side. Everything that you're wearing currently all the time, your standards, your standard coats, and your standard whatever you wear. Put those, your coats, sweaters and coats and pants. Okay, take all the things that you wear all the time, put them on the left side. All the things that you haven't worn in the last 6 months on the right side. If you wear things on the right side, they go to the left side. Okay. If something's on the left side and you don't wear it after 6 months, it goes to the right side. Okay. Follow those rules for a while. And if 6 months go by after that, and you look at that right side, you take all the stuff that you haven't worn now for a whole year, and then you hold on to it for another 20 years and see what happens. My advice. Keep your clothes. Keep all your clothes. Keep all your clothes. Keep a lot of them in case you need them. Keep more than you need. Always have more clothes than you need. Don't worry about whether they're torn up, because I guarantee you that a torn up shirt is significantly better than no shirt. These are obvious. Well, don't have a whole house full of hoarded clothes, but if it's in the closet, that's... Oh, now I'm actually giving real advice. Ugh. I don't care what goes on. I don't care what goes on. We have to have a whole room just for our clothes. That tells me something's wrong. Well, it's not something's wrong. It's just it was built into it. I don't think it's something that we should blame ourselves for. Then we look at Yahweh. Hey, Yahweh, remember the time you destroyed all those villages? Did maybe some of them you shouldn't have? Maybe that's why we don't have what we need? Maybe some of those villages you killed could have been saved, and maybe then we'd have, who knows, breakthroughs and greatness. But nope. You ruined all that. You killed it in its beginnings. You killed it off before it got started. Aye, 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 aye. Well, it's all who you know, I guess. That's how God got started on the whole thing anyway. And it's because he knew the universe. And there was no one else. So he just came in there, turned the lights on. You know what's weird? He put the plants here before the sun. That's weird. I thought that was an odd choice. Hey, God. They said, oh, they put light there. I said, no, but they didn't put the sun there yet, but they already had plants for some reason. Oh. I said, what kind of were those? Some kind of plants that don't... Yeah, what kind of plants were those? That must have been interesting. All the plants that ever existed were put here, and there was no sun. And he was like, oh, hey, where's the sun? Was it a mix-up? Did he have to redo it? Oh, it looks like all the plants died because the sun wasn't here yet. The sun wasn't here in time. Okay, well, we'll just have to get more. And they said, leave it out. Don't add it in there. It makes us look really stupid. They said, it's going to look really stupid if you do. They said, they won't look. They're not going to pay that close of attention. Put it in there very obscurely. Give them a couple of different narratives. Some of them will be different so that they... And then when they point to a question, just say, oh, look at the other one. It means the opposite of what you think. Maybe it's there to test you. Well, don't look for contradictions. That gets... You could look anywhere for contradictions in anything. You could okay, I don't know where that's going. You can be perplexed. It's okay to be perplexed. But all it means is you don't know. And you don't know why you don't know. So you go through a series of not knowing and not knowing why you don't know. Every time. It's a spiral. I don't know. Oh, and I don't know why I don't know. And then I don't know why I don't know why I don't know why. And it goes like that. That's perplexed. That's what perplexed means. So stop yourself right at the first one. Or the second one. Say, okay, I know I don't know. And I know what I don't know. Ha 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 ha. Don't know what you don't know. What you don't know what you don't know. No. So what does that mean? What does it mean? There's no knowing. There's no knowing. What do you mean knowing? They said to me knowing. Are you knowing? No, I'm not knowing because there is no knowing. There is no knowing this time of year. There is no knowing. How do they think there's knowing? I guess they know where the directions are. So you know where a river is. And if you know where it is, then you can go there. But if you don't, then you're going to have to ask. And it more than likely won't get there. And without... That's the way it is. That's the earth. You might have to use electronics, but you're going to have to slave away for those electronics. You're going to have to work a lot to afford to have that. I mean, you're going to have an input of cash, and it's always every month. And the minute you miss it, that's it. You lost that subject. You lost it. You can go get it again. Oh, God, yeah. I lost my service. I got a new phone. Yeah, okay. That's going to go on forever. That's going to go on forever. Well, maybe they fixed it, but it used to be the worst. In the olden days, when you lost your phone number, it was the equivalent. They would put an obituary out for you. So they would just say, yeah, you lost your phone. Here's an obituary to go with it. That's how serious it was. Yeah, people don't realize it. People today take it for granted. Goodness gracious. You know what they said? In 1836, some old man got up there and said, the youth today are terrible and horrible and don't respect anyone. You know what? He was exaggerating. But you know what? If that same guy came today and said it, it'd be spot on. Damn it. It'd be right. He'd be right. It makes me mad. You know that old dummy? He was stupid. He didn't know the first thing about anything when he said it. He was just just wanted to say something. Back then, anyone could say stuff, and people couldn't really. Well, someone would just get up in front of people and give their thoughts. That's how it would be. So someone would just think that the thoughts in their head were important enough to transport over. So sometimes it would be a case. Oh, I forgot everything. I forgot what I'm doing. That's what could happen. So now what? Now where do you go? You forget. I say if you lose your train of thought, you should just keep going. Don't forget. Yeah, you're lucky. This is really a truly blessing. I was hoping this would happen one time. You can't make it happen because then it's fake. But if you truly lose your train of thought, God, what a blessing. Keep it. Don't go back. Don't go looking for it again. Try once to find. Okay, say, what was I thinking of? But if it doesn't come naturally back, then just keep on going, and just feel the freedom. Then just feel the true freedom. That's what's in the Constitution. Should be the freedom to lose your train of thought. The First Amendment. They'll be like the Zero Amendment. Yeah, let's make it the Zero Amendment because it's ironic. Because it's memory and it has to do with lose your train of thought. You have the right. You have the right to lose your train of thought. I take the Zero Amendment. Go to court. They're asking you questions. Yeah, you're giving testimony. Don't take the fifth. Take the zero. I take the zero. And then they say, okay, yeah, you lost your train of thought. Okay, you have that right. That's a fundamental right. By the way, the Bill of Rights is the opposite of the Ten Commandments, which is interesting because the First Commandment, or the First Amendment, it's weird that they sound the same. Well, the First Amendment says you can have any religion, but the First Commandment says thou shalt not have any religion except for one, and that's God. So, think of that right away, right off the bat. They said, we're going to just go, we're going to take the First Amendment of that, the First Commandment, and turn it into the First Amendment that's the opposite. So then you think, oh, that's probably just one, right? Nope, Second Amendment. We know what that is. It says that you can have a militia, which means that you would have a group of men who are allowed to collectively own firearms. That way they could watch each other. But no one would be allowed to have a gun on their own. No one ever thought that. They thought that would be insane. For arms. I mean, I'm talking about for war. All right. So they had to have guns out on the woods, right? But that's not what that said. But I'm going to have to cut that part out. Not because it's not a valid argument, but because I don't want to have to go down that path with these weirdos. I don't care much about the debate because I totally believe that it says a militia. It does not say private ownership is legitimate. I say if you join a militia, that's good, and you can own a gun. But it's a collective ownership, and while you may own the gun, the militia should be able to revoke your rights. And if you don't have that sort of regulation otherwise, then that was never intended, and it's a recipe for disaster. And you misunderstand a lot if you think otherwise. There's a lot of things going on there structurally that most of you will misunderstand, but that's too bad. I can't bring it all out. I can't go here for hours talking. All right. So, but that's not none of the things I say hinge on that. That's why I just add that. But yeah, there's a lot of rocky water there, and if you go down it, it's worse. It gets much worse for the other side. It cuts against their case. All right. But what I'm saying, I didn't want to say that anyway. I didn't want to go down there. I don't care. Yeah, I don't care about that. I used to be a member of the NRA. I'm a life member of the NRA. I was given that as a child. That was my gift. That was a Christmas gift that I was given. In fact, I asked Santa Claus to bring me an NRA lifetime membership, and Santa Claus, the man from upstairs, the man in the sky, or whatever, from the north, wherever he's at in the snow, brought his sleigh, came to my house, gave me a card that said NRA life member. I still have it. I am a life member of the NRA, whatever's left of it, whatever they didn't steal from it, the owners of it. Whatever LaPierre did not take, I have a part of it. Okay, so that having those credentials, I'm allowed to speak this way. But I say this to you: they say you have the right to bear arms. Let's just assume that's true, which it's not. But let's just go with that argument. Like I said, if you go the rocky path the other way, you're going to find worse, and it'll take you down. But it takes you too far, and you're not willing to go. But this one, you just take this path, and you're done. So we accept. Okay, we say, yeah, you're right. For the benefit of this argument, you have the right to bear arms. That's what the Second Amendment says. You have the right to just unlimited gun ownership. You can own as many guns as you want, and you can order a tank if you want, and you can have hand grenades. And you have to have you have to be given a place to set them off, if you want. I think that's what it says. Pretty sure. Yeah, it says that. It says you can make bombs, and then you can you need a place to blow them up. And if the government tries to say, we don't want you to set those, you have to say, nope, the Constitution says I have unfettered right to arms. That means I have to be able to shoot them off. What am I going to do with them if I can't shoot them off? What's the point of having them if I can't even blow them up? Ha ha ha. So yeah, that's all true, every bit of that. I never said anything different. So the second commandment says, thou shalt not have unto me false idols of graven images. It's exactly what it says. Those are the exact words. If it doesn't say it exactly, it's almost that. It's paraphrased. Okay. Well, that is a false idol right there. A gun itself, a firearm is a false idol. Bingo. A 1-2 punch, and a 1-2 punch. They said, we're going to knock out the 10 Commandments in 2 punches. Our third amendment is about quartering of troops, and a third commandment. Well, what is it? I want to look it up. I have to look it up on. What is the third commandment? Okay, so you cannot quarter troops, and then so we know what that means. That Britain was always sending their redcoats, and they would come to your house, and they would just say, hey, I'm staying here. Hey, mate, I'm staying here with you, mate. Hey, where's me bunk? Where's me bunk? And then they're looking for pillows. I can't do much of that, but that's not that good. But they're looking for their bunks, and they're all right. So they're looking for their sleeping bags and stuff, and you have to let them in. Back then, before they wrote that, and then when they wrote that, when they came and said all that, you'd say, no, they've made a new rule. Here it is. It's number 3. It's number 3. Okay. They say it's not important too, by the way, which is strange. You ever notice how you ever hear that? They say, oh yeah, the Third Amendment's not that important anymore. Isn't it? The quartering of troops in your house, the forbidding of it, is not important? Okay. I guess. I mean, we could have kept it, though. I don't see why we have to throw it out. We might as well keep it just in case we need it. Let's keep some of them just in case we need them later. But yeah, and then the third commandment's a little different. It says, you shouldn't take the name of the Lord your God in vain. All right, so they strayed a little bit from it, but they got the first two almost exactly opposite, which no one saw that coming. I don't think anybody saw that one coming, that they would be exactly the opposite. One of them, first commandment, no other gods before me. First Amendment, you can have any gods. That's the opposite. Second Amendment, you can have this false idol of a graven image. You have to have it. You're legally righted to have it. second commandment is, you shall not have false idols. You shall not worship false idols, which is, well, that's what a gun is. It's a false idol. So, yep. Oh, but I see. Do, do, do. Do, do, do. All right, that was pretty good. So you have to have a reverence and respect for the name of God. Yeah. Don't use it frivolously. Treat it with reverence. Oh, well, there in the Constitution, it requires you to give an oath. And the court procedure is that you will swear to God. Well, guess what? That's part of it. So that's another opposite. I haven't formulated this whole thing out yet, but that's definitely the opposite. So it's true. You just have to accept it. The Constitution is the opposite of the Bible. And if the Bible was better, so let's say the Bible was better. They said, hey, the Bible has got everything you need. If that's true, then why did they write a Constitution? What was the purpose? Why didn't they just say, well, everyone agrees? And they would have said, yeah, everyone here agrees. I said, yeah, everyone agrees. Not one person disagrees. And so who cares? We'll just keep the Bible as the rule. Nope, that's not what they did. Not what they did. Well, that's not what they did. If that's under dispute. If they had done it the other way, then I would say, let's go genocide out a couple of villages then, because that's all we got to do. I heard Joanne Rowling is going to be arrested for being a dick. Nothing news, I guess. More nothing news. Heard it before. Heard it all before. Hey, come on, let's rattle the cage a little bit. No, Charlie, don't be messing around with those guys. Come on, we're just gonna rattle their chain a little bit. No, I don't think you should mess with those monkeys, Charlie. We're just gonna bang on their cages a little bit. Charlie, there's a sign that says don't fuck around with the monkeys. Just gonna shake their cage a little bit, that's all. Yeah, maybe I'll shoot the finger at them or something. I don't really think they understand that gesture. Oh, I guess they do. Stop that, Charlie. No, he's looking at you now. Yeah, look at that little fucker. You take it up for him? What you take it? Charlie, I'm not really taking it up for him. It's just that the rules of the zoo have a very specific. You don't want to fuck around with them. They don't like that. It's kind of childish. Yeah, what are you talking about? It's the best part of the whole thing. What are you talking about? You got to fuck around with them a little bit. Look at this. Here's what I'm going to do. Look at this. I got this fentanyl pill right here. And I'm going to wrap it up in this cheese and I'm going to give it to him and then we can watch him see what he does. See if he goes to sleep or not. Charlie, I really think that's a bad idea. Really, seriously. No, listen to me. Here's what I'm going to do. Then we'll give him some cocaine right after that to wake him up. Kind of like a Wizard of Oz kind of thing. Well, even though it's very nuanced and I appreciate that, I got to ask you, please don't do it. Remember you owe me one. Yeah, what are you talking about? I owe you one. Oh, remember? You said, here, tell my wife that I'm not going to be able to come home tonight because I have to work. But really, you were doing something else. I think you were... Yeah, I was doing my research. What are you talking about? I was doing research, my paleontological research. What are you trying to put me down because I researched? I aspire to be an archaeologist. And you're putting me down right now. No. No, I'm saying that I did something for you, and now you could do something even really small for me just by not messing with the. Don't fuck around with this monkey today. It's getting embarrassing. Look, there's somebody actually coming. So, yeah, fuck that guy. I don't care about that stupid guy. Well, okay, Charlie, that guy is, okay. Here he comes. Okay, excuse me. Please read that sign right there. That sign clearly says, "Don't fuck with the monkeys." So what are you doing? Hey, look, the monkey was just standing there fucking with me. So what am I supposed to do? Listen, sir, my friend has a condition, and he's on the spectrum. Oh, okay. Well, please refrain from fucking around with those monkeys. Yeah, no problem. It's just, sometimes he gets a little excited. Hey, what are you talking about right there? What are you talking about? Shh. Hey, what are you talking about? It's okay, Charlie. Don't worry about it. We got away. Let's get out of here. What are they going to do to us for fucking with the monkeys? Well, I don't know. That's the problem. I don't know. They might ban us from the zoo. I'm not going to have that on my head. I'm not going to take that home. Yeah, fuck it. We'll go to another zoo. There's other cities. This one's a convenient zoo. It's nearby. Now let's get the fuck out of here. So what, now you tell me we're not going to get the fuck around with the fish? Oh, we can come back next week and fuck with the fish if you want. Yeah, what are you talking about? We got to fuck around with something before we leave. I'll tell you what. You can fuck around with the security guard on the way out. What do you think? Hey, you going to help me? Yeah, I'll help you. All right, all right, that's a good deal. That's all I'm talking about. You got to fuck around with these people. You got to fuck around with them just a little bit. Are you actually bored? Is it late and all your friends are out having a good time while you're stuck at home being introverted? Did you know you have options and you can try out new things? You can look for anything you want, and if you find it, why, you can have it. So that is the concept of Dial-A-Dick. That's right, you heard right, Dial-A-Dick. You dial the phone and we connect you with a dick. It is a legal dick and it is a legitimate dick. You see, our dicks are all trained at the Dick College, and they know how to do their jobs because they are professional dicks. At Dial-A-Dick, you get what you get, and that's a good dick. We are talking about private eyes or private investigators. If you're bored and alone, you might have extra money, and you could hire a private dick to go snooping around anywhere just for kicks. Dial-A-Dick just for kicks. Dial-A-Dick just for kicks. You can get a dick just for kicks. Dial-A-Dick, where investigations and spontaneity interact. Be sure to ask about our buy one dick, get one manly escort free special for a limited time only. So we were down by the place where the moon landing was filmed in Nevada, right outside of Las Vegas. And let me think, what happened? Okay. So we were there. And we were there to meet the devil because we were working with the devil, putting fossils everywhere that would disagree with the true fact that the earth is only like 6,600 years old, because the devil had an interest in making it seem much older. So what we were doing is just taking dinosaur bones and sticking them in various places in the ground, and then leaving them there and documenting them so that the devil would then have his archaeologists later find them and make claims and say something like, oh, look, the earth is actually 4.5 billion years old, and the universe itself is only 3.2 billion. They just made those numbers up, the devil. And so we were working with them out there. So we showed up at the appointed spot, and it was when they were shooting a moon landing while it was going on, unfortunately. So then we got in the footage, and then we had to explain to everyone how we were on the moon, But then they had to cut all that out because it didn't fit. None of it fit. And so it was a big waste of our time. We got nothing from it. Except for all the money the devil paid us. The devil pays a lot more than almost anyone. You hear stories about like Liberace, Oprah, Rockefeller, Cassius, Pompeo, Caesar, Sulla, Hannibal, just wealthy people. You hear it. Rockefeller, Carnegie. The devil has more. It was lucrative for all of us because once the devil proved that the word was 1,000,000 years old, then people quit going to church and they just started worshiping out of their Darwin books, as he calls them. He said he wanted to replace the Bible with Darwin. He said first he's going to replace baby Jesus with snowman, get rid of Merry Christmas, and then, guess what? He's going to replace the Bible with Darwin. So we thought, okay, who could not be a part of it? This is on the ground floor, so. And then I stupidly traded my birthright for a cup of lentil soup and a mandrake. For the mandrake, I traded the right to sleep with the devil, which I had, and I was the only one who possessed it. And I had it because I wanted to get that mandrake so that I could reproduce. But then I was eating the lentil soup and I lost my cervix. That's how that story went. And the devil had to pay double. So I wasn't too worried about it. But then the devil went a step too far. And he said, I need you to meet with this agent of mine. And I said, okay, fine. You know, of course I love to meet with agent. I said, who is it though? I just want to know who it is. He said, his initials are EM. And I said, what are you talking about? He said, his first name is a name that no one else has. And it's kind of like it's only 4 letters and no one else has that name and it's ridiculous. And his last name is just like a cutoff, basically, of Moscow. I said, are you talking about Elon Musk? He said, yeah, you're just going to meet with Elon Musk. I said, I'm out of the deal. I went to Yahweh the next day. I said, hey, Yahweh, I'm going to tell you all about it. I told Yahweh the whole story. Yahweh was like, thank you. I'm glad you told me all that. Because I've been waiting. I've been awaiting. I said, good. And that's how that story went. That's how it ends. Okay, listen up, folks. I've had it up to here with these so-called belts. You know what I'm talking about. Those sneaky strips of leather and metal that think they can just waltz around our waists, acting like they own the place. And then, to add insult to injury, I hear this news today. A belt was arrested for holding up a pair of pants on the Lower East Side. It's about the principle. These belts think they're above the law. With their little belt loops and shiny buckles. They've been tightening their grips on us for too long. It's time to take a stand. No more letting belts hold us back, both literally and figuratively. We need to buckle down here and put an end to this madness. Our pants deserve better, darn it. Dang it. So mark my words, folks. The era of belt tyranny ends now. From here on out, we wear our pants with pride. unencumbered by the tyranny of those waste-wielding culprits. Join me in the fight against belt oppression. I had an unrequited love affair with nature. Yeah, first I loved nature. The first time I went out there, saw nature, looking at the sky. It was like this big blue horizon with a field, and there were flowers and trees, etc., birds. One time I even saw a lake. Yeah, and then one time I saw a river. Clouds. I loved it. At night it was even better. There was stars in the sky and such. And there was a moon. And I liked the sun as well. It was like there's a whole set of things. Nature. And one time I saw and there was a mountain. A hill. It's kind of a steep hill, really. They said, there's no mountains in Texas, they told me. But I saw a mountain in Texas. Right off the side of the road. You could look up. It's about 1,000. You just look up. And there's snow on top. You can't tell me that's not a mountain. I saw a mountain. I loved it. I love nature, but nature never returned any of my love. So I left it. Went indoors. Just went indoors. Quit. I said, that's it. I said, this isn't working out anymore, nature. Our relationship is a one-sided street. Wait. Our nature is you've been screwing me over since the beginning of this thing. And I was reading in a book in the Bible where it says, even you were a big part of it when one time Adam and Eve, you didn't even take Adam and Eve's side of all things. You were against them. I don't remember. I got that. That's stupid. All right. How stupid. Okay. All right. Yeah, I had I always loved nature. Well, I guess I had an unrequited love affair with nature. Oh yeah, I used to go out there on just walk. I would walk in the nature on a trail, and I would see trees, creeks, birds, bees, insects, various plants, trees, cacti, and landscapes. A landscape is just a set of all these things together. And I would sit there and look at them, and sometimes you want to rise up a little bit. It helps because it gives it some depth. When I was in the plains too, and it's just as great. You see forever in the plains. They say when you get to the plains that everything disappears and all you have left is land and sky. All the water, all the trees go away. Everything. The shape of the world goes away. So that's why they said, no way are we going to keep going through this. And when they first hit it, they left. They said, we have to go back. So for like 10 years, this is true, but it doesn't matter. But for 10 years, they had to go back. Couldn't handle it. It's not important. The plains, the Great Plains. Yeah, but nature did not return any love. Problem. That was a problem. So I said, this relationship is over. And then I went indoors. Well, every now and then I look out the window and I remember what used to be. Well, when you think about it, Yahweh is nature. Storm God. Oh, I see storm God in the irony of it. So storm God is a war god also. Storm God. Okay, if you get enough people to think of certain thoughts, you push buttons on the earth and they cause things to happen. So that if what the attempt is to get as many people as you can thinking about Yahweh without saying his name, then all things are good and everything gets good. But if some people don't, then everything is broke and it's all disconnected and Yahweh doesn't even hear one bit of it. But if you get every single person thinking about Yahweh without saying his name, then everything goes back to perfect in heaven. But you dummies, you've been letting some of you don't even, you dummies. So obvious. Sure obvious. It's sure obvious. That's getting ridiculous. This is getting ridiculous. What if it just went on like that, just silent? What if a big part of the show is like 2 hours of silence? Would it be considered complete? How would you document the silence? Would you just say silence for 1 hour and 20 minutes? Could you just do that anyway? Can I just say, okay, right in here is 36 hours of silence. And then you just have to imagine it. And then you go, oh, wow, yeah, that was a really long, okay. And then okay. Don't use negative time for silence. Don't ever do that. Oh, that's dangerous. That's dangerous to the universe and yourself. And others. And the universe. And the universe's universe. Dangerous to yourself, the universe, others, and the universe's universes. Don't ever do that. Do not insert negative silence. If you insert negative silence, it erases everything that was said for whatever length of time you just used. That will lead to chaos. That's going to lead to chaos. I know that the universe was created out of chaos and everything, but I know it was created out of chaos, but still, don't be creating chaos. Because it will lead to chaos. If you do it, everyone will do it. That's been said before. Oh, that came from that. Okay, that came from something else. It will lead to chaos. The domino effect concept. The same principle at work in nuclear fission. Yep. The domino effect. The domino effect for foreign policy. Those are all related. The nuclear domino effect. The Southeast Asia domino effect. And the other one. They're all related. It's all related. Okay. Dominoes somehow work into this. And you know what? You know who says domino a lot? The Pope. I notice the Pope says domino a lot. It could be that the Pope is trying to raise awareness, so I wouldn't jump to conclusions out there. I heard some of you out there jumping to conclusions, thinking I was trying to blame the Pope. You know what? I think the Pope may be raising awareness. Dang it! You people, your thoughts. Quit jumping to conclusions. I wasn't going to try to trash the Pope. He's got enough on his plate. He can barely hold his head up. But it was head up. You know, the last pope retired. That's weird. I didn't think you could do that. Can you imagine the nerve of this guy? Can you imagine that? So when you sign up for that, you know what it is all your life. You know what it is. You can't. He couldn't have, and he just said, "Oh, now that I'm in charge of the whole thing, I'm going to quit." He said, "Yeah, I can do it because I." They said, "Yeah, you can do it. That's true, but shouldn't you consider some things?" He's like, "No, I consider nothing, and I'm out. That's it." He's like one of some people have done it before. It's no big deal. It's in office, and he decided that he had had enough of it. I'm sure he did great work. So but I'm just saying he quit, and you're not supposed to quit. He should have at least made a big deal about it and said, "Look, I know that this is but that's not what he did. What actually happened was he just came out and he said he's quitting. He didn't even say it. He didn't even he should have made a worldwide speech. I know this is weird, and I know it's strange, and it's never been done, actually. It's almost never been done. You might as well say it's never been done. You might as well say it has never been done because most people don't know what happened 5 minutes ago. So it hasn't happened in our lifetime or any lifetime before. It's been a long time, and I'm not going to look it up because there's too many popes. There's like 266 popes, and I'm not going to look through that list again. Pope Severus again. I'm not going to go through all that. And all what's his name? Who's my favorite? Calixtus? I don't know. Calixtus was always my favorite. Linus, one of the first ones. They're not really true, the first ones. But I like some of the first names that they gave. You ever see the pictures they draw of the first ones that never really existed? But they make them into they look like cards. They look like, old drawings of just generic people that don't, it's hilarious. But then later on they do have actual people that they draw. So that's when it gets fun. I don't like to go through all that. That's Calixtus. But he quit. He just quits. I quit. And then he doesn't say anything about it. Okay. I guess we're doing that. I guess that's what we're doing. It's nothing it's not to be, if you're outside of it, you can't criticize it. You don't understand. They're just like any other organization. They have strange leaders that do strange things. It's hard to be critical of something that's already ridiculous. It's ridiculous to start, and then now some people are like, "Can he quit?" Well, yeah, he can because it's fake. So he could have quit all along. All of them could have quit, but it was just that they didn't, so that it would be kind of cool. They said, "Yeah, we're going to do this thing, and we're all going to be part of it." And when he joined up, when they voted for him, I'm sure they said, "Are you going to do the thing?" He's like, "Yeah, if you make me the Pope," he had to tell him that. But then when it came time for him, he just said, "Well, no, it'd be more convenient for me to just move to wherever it was, Bavaria or something," right? He has a live-in man that takes care of everything of him. And rightly so. He served the church his whole life, and since it's a ridiculous thing to start out, I say he should be allowed to do it, and I don't have any problem with the man that did it. But if you're inside of it, you have to have a different, more nuanced point of view, probably. And it would be wrong for the outsider to be saying stuff about it, because they don't really know. They shouldn't be. If they knew a little bit, if they understood some of the precepts, and couldn't have their judgment clouded, it's already ridiculous. Who cares? I don't even know why I brought it up. I don't even know why. Yeah, well, I did because he just quit and he didn't say anything. He acted like it was fine, even though it had never been done. Shouldn't he have had to explain for weeks? Shouldn't Pope Benedict had to have explained for it? And then he's just like, and he says, "I want everyone to agree." Wouldn't he have had to do that? I want everyone, because I know this is too far. This is going too far. No, he just says, "Well, I'm stepping down and there's nothing you can do about it. And it's already over. The decision's over." And that's it. I guess he could have said, he could have said God told him. I know you probably don't want to do that though, but I mean, you wouldn't want to fake that. But he actually could have said that, and it would have been a perfect exit. It might have cleaned it up a little bit. Yeah, but otherwise, it seems like now you can quit. It seems like now he set a precedent. Next pope that wants to quit is just they're going to say, "I want to quit," and someone will say, "Hey, it caused a lot." Yeah, well, Benedict quit. Benedict quit. Benedict quit. One of the Benedicts, one of the last Benedicts that was here was actually quit, and Benedict got a bad name though. One of the biggest traitors was named Benedict, and that ruined the whole thing for them. But yeah, that's another thing. He picked the name Benedict. It's kind of like, was he mad at America? Maybe that's why he picked the name. He says, "What's the name of their enemy? Pick some traitor of them, and I'll take that as my name." I'm sure that's what it was. He said. They said, "Well, there was this fellow named Benedict Arnold." He said, "Okay, Arnold. Let's see." And they said, "No, don't use Arnold because there's this other man that you do not want to speak of, who is of ungodly proportions and should not be spoken of." And he goes, "Okay, so then how about what's the other one? Benedict?" They said, "You know what? There were other popes named Benedict." "Okay, well, how many are we into it?" 16. "Okay, I'll take it." Yeah. That's how that went. And then to seal the deal, he quit. He quit. Imagine quitting something that you don't have to do. It's just you're holding a title, and you can always say, "I'm not going to be able to make it due to illness." You have the choice anytime you want to call in sick, and you decide everything that happens. You even say, "You know what? You're taking over today. For today, I'll let you take over, Theobald or whatever, and you can go do all of it." And then you sit there and say, "Oh, by the way, I'm going to be reading scripture, so leave me alone." Good grief. Why would you quit? How could you quit? Hopefully, though, he did get to read scripture that whole time that he was sequestered. Because now that would have been awesome, to be sequestered and having all your whims taken care of while you just read scripture the whole time. There is heaven on earth if that's true, if that's what he did. Just nothing but scripture. In its original Latin. Just imagine, just sitting there, Greek, maybe get out some Greek and some Hebrew. Pull it all out, all at once. Just look at it. And then maybe take a little bit of Arabic and stick it right over there too and go, look at that too, why not? Put it all out there. What are you doing? Why are you waiting? Get in there. Get all that information. Come on. It's like once you get in there, you learn the languages. And eventually, you become familiar with these old languages. I mean, it's easy. He's sitting there. He's already trained in it. I mean, he trained in it his whole life. He's the Pope. And he knows classics. He knows all it. So he just sits there and he's just reading all the great stuff. He knows, he's calling people up, "Hey, you know anything no one ever heard of?" And they go, "Yeah, you know what, blah, blah, blah." And they tell him old stuff, all kinds of old, neat details about stuff. He probably lived a real exciting life. Just thinking about all the old, awesome stuff that happened. And just like, what did he do? He bombed the whole city and what? Yeah, they said oh, wow, that's glorious. The enemies of Yahweh never make it. That one town. In Sodom, I got to say that, that mob that attacked the house. Now, there's no excuse for that, but I just want to say that maybe they were just attacking those angels because they found out the guy was going to firebomb their city. And that makes it, think about that. God's going to be firebombing their children and beheading all their children. So, think about it. You're in a city, you find out some agents have been sent. They're going to help some people get out of town because somebody is going to kill and maim all the children and all the smallest of the children, too. And you find out about it, right? So you get all the men together, right? In like a glorious way. And you say, "We're going to go get these agents, because we're going to make this person pay." There's nothing wrong with that. I don't understand how you can judge those guys. I think they were just they're just trying to protect their city, just trying to protect their people and their families. How could you? Oh, the fact in all this time, this church has been holding this against them. Can you imagine? This poor city is destroyed by Yahweh, and then the whole time the church just decries it and says, "Oh, you bad, terrible city." The only reason why they did it is because they found out Yahweh was going to destroy them for no reason, on a whim. He wanted to clear the landscape so he'd have a better view. It's the kind of thing Yahweh did back then. He'd get upset just because you made too much noise. He was a serious man back then. And he just wipes these people out for almost no reason. They got wind of it early. And that's why they went, that's why there was a mob of Sodom. That's what caused that. And then to think that they were heroes, but then they're to be, made into the villains in the story. Oh. It's just, and then Gomorrah gets no credit. You don't ever hear anything about Gomorrah, but nobody ever says anything about Gomorrah. That's all. Nobody cares about Gomorrah. Nobody cares about Gomorrah. God didn't even send anybody there to get anybody out. He just didn't even care about Gomorrah. What's so bad about Gomorrah? What's so bad about Gomorrah? I would now like to play a song for you. Although it escapes me the name of the composition, that tune has always been something close to me. It's sort of, to me, almost like an anthem.
There's one view which you could call, as it were, an objective, and that is that a nation is, as it were, a matter of fact.
Whoever heard of a mirror like this? In fact, theoretically, one laser beam could carry all the telephone calls and all the radio and television programs in the United States all at the same time.
God has said, the Lord has spoken, in an acceptable time.
In fact, theoretically, one laser beam could carry all the telephone calls.
A nation is as a nation.
Language of heart. Even the act of love is portrayed as an elaborate meshing of moments of terror points out the inanity of middle-class culture. Conventional ideas of logic. Art is dead. Art is dead.
Good evening. Kent has the night off. Unemployment's down, but few experts are breaking out the
Federal
heart.
government today says U.S. unemployment fell slightly in January, about 0.2 points.
Breeding ground of horror. Where fiends not of this earth.
Yelm Heights Eagle Chicks defeated the Community Christian Warriors tonight, 46-43, in a very exciting game.
There's a mirror, Adrian. Go on, look at yourself. See if you ever heard of a mirror like whoever heard of a mirror like this? Mirror.
The chief of police endorsed the program and cooperated in many practical ways.
There's one view.
And oh yes, here is Adrian, who usually sits all alone, slumped in her chair.
The bank offers us many services. He takes the cash, the check, the deposit slip,
Whoever
and
heard
his
of a
bank
mirror like this?
to the teller at the savings window.
Ever hear of Karl Marx? Here in Russia, you see the reason why we are spending billions of dollars in defense production.
Theoretically.
Ever hear of Karl Marx?
The nation is a nation.
Either you will or you won't. Either you will or you won't. But there's something surrounding that issue that you want to believe me. Either you just will or can't. Either you will or you can't. But there's something surrounding that issue that you want to believe me. Either you just will or can't. Either you will or you can't. But there's something surrounding that issue that you want to believe me. You just can't. You can't let it go.
Here it is at last, the night of the party that everyone's been looking forward to for weeks.
There's one view which you could call, as it were, an objective, and that is that a nation is, as it were, a matter of fact.
Whoever heard of a mirror like this? In fact, theoretically, one laser beam could carry all the telephone calls and all the radio and television programs in the United States all at the same time.
God has said, the Lord has spoken. In an acceptable
Time. In fact, theoretically, one laser beam could carry all the telephone calls.
The nation is a nation.
Even the act of love is portrayed as an elaborate meshing of years. Moments of terror points out the inanity of middle-class culture. Conventional ideas of logic is dead. Art is dead.
Good evening. Kent has the night off. Unemployment's down, but few experts are breaking out the
Federal
heart.
government today says U.S. unemployment fell slightly in January, about 0.2 points.
breeding ground of horror. Where fiends not of this earth.
Yelm Heights Eagle Chicks defeated the Community Christian Warriors tonight, 46-43, in a very exciting game.
There's a mirror, Adrian. Go on, look at yourself. See if you ever heard of a mirror like whoever heard of a mirror like this? Mirror.
The chief of police endorsed the program and cooperated in many practical ways.
There's one view.
And oh yes, here is Adrian, who usually sits all alone, slumped in her chair.
The bank offers us many services. He takes the cash, the check, the deposit slip,
Whoever
and
heard
his
of a
bank
mirror like this?
to the teller at the savings window.
Ever hear of Karl Marx? Here in Russia, you see the reason why we are spending billions of dollars in defense production.
In fact, theoretically.
Ever hear of Karl
Carry
Marx?
all the telephone calls.
The nation is a nation.
Either you will or you won't. Either you will or you won't. But there's something surrounding that issue that you want to believe me. You just can't. You can't let it go.
Here it is at last, the night of the party that everyone's been looking forward to for weeks.
So let's see if we can go down this list here. You know, the shit had a grievance. says, hey, he wants to get back up that guy's asshole. So he said the guy shit him out, plopped him out on the street like that. He should have been in the toilet. He said, hey, he had a case because he'd been plopped on the street there. It made him dry out. He could have stayed moist and warm in the guy's asshole, but he didn't because the guy didn't put him in the proper place. He said, hey, you know what? If I had been flushed down the toilet, there's nothing I could do about it. You know, he conceded that right away. The piece of shit conceded it. He said, hey, yeah, you're right. If I had been flushed down the toilet, I can't say nothing about it. Yeah, but that's not what happened. He said, hey, this guy plopped me out on the street. That's just a fact. That's the fact of the case. You can't deny it because I'm here on the street. He said, look, I'm here on the street. I'm caged in. He says, I'm caged in on the street. You can't prove that. You can't say that I wasn't here. They said, well, there might be some problems with the, they said some of the feces might have been handled a couple of times by some well-meaning individuals. But nonetheless, the shit was being handled. They said there could be a problem with the evidentiary chain of ownership there. That's what they said. So, but then as the proceedings went on, there came up a new case because there was a countersuit filed by the next shit. So the next shit in the guy's asshole says, hey, no way, you can't. He says, look, what you're proposing right now, what this piece of shit's trying to propose right now is contradictory to my old rights as a piece of shit up in someone's asshole. He said, look, I'm up in this asshole. I have rights. He said, if I wasn't in the asshole, I would have certain rights. But now that I'm in there, he says, hey, because I'm up, look. He says, hey, because I have certain rights when I'm in the asshole. I have certain rights. And he says, look, you can't, what you're proposing takes away my rights as a piece of shit in the guy's asshole. He says he inherits these rights. Like they pass down. And he inherited them. And, he's going to use them, he says. He says he can't have a new piece of shit shoved up there. He said it would upset the balance of his own body when he gets out, when he gets plopped out. He said, God forbid, if he was put on the street, he wouldn't like it, but he's hoping he's going to get a toilet. He says the odds are pretty good. But he said there's no way he's going to accept an old piece of shit being shoved back up there. He said his own rights. Now then, next thing you know, contents of the stomach are talking. They got their own claims. They say, hey, look. This is going to affect us. He starts shoving shit back up in there. They say, hey, look, he starts shoving shit back up. It's going to start affecting us up here. Yeah. Next thing you know, you got lettuce out there. You got tomatoes. You got pretty much every ingredient from a hamburger out there is saying, hey, every hamburger ingredient in the world is making a claim saying, hey, look, we could end up in this shit. That could affect us. You start running shit back up through this guy. They said, hey, that affects everybody. It affects the whole chain. So they filed a class action. And then these guys, they filed a class action together against the claim of the shit, of the original shit. Well, it wasn't enough. So they got the seeds. They took the seeds of all the plants. And they got the eggs. And they said, hey, if you start shoving shit back up in there like that, you're going to affect the whole chain. We're part of it. You have to affect us. We can't. That's going to affect us too. Yeah. So, yeah. You know, the piece of shit got evicted out of that asshole. He said, hey, that's an eviction. He said, hey, look, this amounts to an eviction here. I was evicted illegally. I wasn't given any warning. Wake up one morning. Next thing you know, I'm out on the street. The guy throws me out on the street. He didn't even let me know about it. He didn't even give me any notification. Yeah. Imagine that. He never even gave me notification. So, usually, there's a standard procedure. You're supposed to get notification when something like that happens. It's a normal procedure. But this guy, I don't know what he ate. I don't know what else happened. Yeah, I think some people think he might have been drinking. That's why that happened. But we don't know. No one knows. But in the end, he got evicted from the guy's asshole. And then the judge threw out his case. Same thing. Same result. But he's got protected status. So, he's still out there. Yeah. All right. Well, I got to get out of here. Oh, yeah, I'll talk to you later. All right. Hey there, folks. Are you a big guy who might just be a wise guy? Well, have we got an opportunity for you. Introducing the Big Guy, Wise Guy Stripper Academy. That's right. We're breaking stereotypes and breaking hearts with our unique program. Now, you might think being big and wise is just for running the streets, but let me tell you, it's also for making bank in your spare time. We're talking about stripping, folks. Big guys, they're sexier than thin guys, and wise guys, well, they got that dangerous allure. Put them together and you've got a recipe for success. So if you're ready to take down your pants and take home some serious cash, sign up for our program today. Learn the art of the tease, the shimmy, and the shake from the best in the business. Big Guy, Wise Guy Stripper Academy, where the only thing bigger than your muscles is your paycheck. Pew, pew. This has been the Cruel and Unusual Sit-Down Podcast. Coming to you weekdays at 11. Hey YouTube, don't forget to hit the thumbs up and subscribe.